Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Faenza Prize Talks. Today we gather online to celebrate the inspiring work of talented artists who have been selected for this year's Faenza Prize exhibition that will open on 27th of June. My name is Valentins Petiko. I'm from Latvia, and I'm honored to be one of jury members for the 63rd edition of Faenza Prize. Today's session will offer you an exclusive opportunity to investigate the creative processes, inspirations, and ideas that each artist brings to their work. I would like to introduce our panel of artists joining us today online. So we'll meet Lin Dong from China, Malene Rasmussen from Denmark, Marina Rodriguez from Argentina, Ilona Romule from Latvia, Aline Schmidt from France, Agnes Šemberaitė from Lithuania, Todd Shanafelt from US, and if we are lucky, we will also meet Claude Duma from France. So each artist will present their work, and following the presentations, we will open the floor for discussion and questions. Thank you for joining us this Wednesday, and let's continue with the presentations. Our first speaker is Lin Dong from China. We are now going to see her video presentation. Lin Dong lives and works in Beijing, China. She's a member of China Sculpture Society, China Arts and Crafts Society, and a lecturer at Beijing Union University. Lin Dong, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Hello. My English is so I make a schedule to show my work. Okay,
选择
thank
一
you.
些新的陶瓷釉色，来创造现当代的中国陶瓷艺术。接下来我向大家介绍的这件作品，它的名字叫做《苍鹰绝兔》。这是我近2年来的新作。大家好，我叫董林，我来自中国，非常高兴能够再次入围意大利法恩扎陶瓷奖。陶瓷是我近10年以来主要的一个创作材料。我在创作方法上沉迷于直接手工捏塑成型，我将瓷土视为单纯的雕塑材料使用。我喜欢泥巴在手中的温度与手感，快速成型的流畅感让我在创作中非常享受。我一直探索创作与中国本土图像造型相关的题材，我会选择一些新的陶瓷釉色，来创造现当代的中国陶瓷艺术。接下来我向大家介绍的这件作品，它的名字叫做《苍鹰绝兔》。这是我近2年来的新作品。在中国传统文化中，鹰和兔承载着丰富的意蕴和象征。中国民间认为鹰属阳，兔属阴。苍鹰绝兔造型寓意着婚姻美满、多子多福。在中国，白色是一种神秘的颜色。白色动物因为稀有，常被中国古人视为祥瑞的象征。造型上，此作品运用捏塑的塑造方法，专注老鹰、兔子、花草、山石的塑造，将苍鹰绝兔这一文化符号赋予一个新的意蕴。这件作品长3.5米，宽1.5米。这件作品是高温釉下彩与电镀瓷釉为创作基底，经过高温还原烧制而成。百鸟的形态汲取了中国宋元院体画的精髓，通过写实性的捏塑与写意线条相结合，以浮雕工艺来塑造灵阙振势、雄鹰昂首的姿态。构图受墨谷花鸟画法的启发，釉彩泼染牡丹， 竹石、兰草等传统意象，加入银箔材料渲染背景，虚实相生，形成鸟栖花间、景随气转的立体文人画卷。这是一件小作品，也是我接下来要创作的一系列作品中的一小件。这件作品的名字叫做石菖蒲，在中国文化中寓意着长寿。这次入围法恩扎奖的作品是九安大吉。在中国数千年的历史长河中，鹌鹑一直是人们喜闻乐见之物，是中国文人花鸟画的重要题材。鹌鹑的鹌字在中文中发音与平安的安为同音，数字9中文发音与长久的久同音，所以9只鹌鹑具有象征意义，意为久久平安。这件作品以9只鹌鹑为创作题材，来传达我对长久平安和幸福生活的向往。作品材质上，我选择了陶土，没有上釉。陶土烧成后本身的颜色和质感非常适合对鹌鹑的塑造表达。鹌鹑的造型同样强调手工性，这跟我以往的创作方式保持一致。同时，现成品的运用丰富了作品的气氛。我就简单介绍到这里，谢谢大家。
Thank you for your video presentation we just had, and thank you for the impressive works you are doing and for the perfection in every single detail. Thank you. Now I would like to invite French artist Claude Duma. He's well known for his modernist design. He has presented his work in numerous international exhibitions around the world, and let's enjoy his presentation. Claude, the floor is yours.
Hello. I started working on the generic theme of matter in the mid-2000s, developing that of the exploitation of raw materials, including clay, a material that I learned to know from 15 years old. During my apprenticeship as a ceramist, I thought about the source of the matter, and then I wondered what to do with the clay. It seemed interesting to me, first of all, to make egg of the world, in reference to the cosmic egg or primordial egg of many traditional cultures. So I made a huge egg built by a three-dimensional network of clay. This way of doing evokes the vacuum and dispersion of matter and shows the specter of an initial mass that adds the original shape of the egg. I wanted to represent the Earth by and with itself. Then I added the worrying issue of the exploitation of raw materials. This led me to make the block of terrestrial barks. Clay blocks cut out into parallel piped with wire, as are the marble mountains. They represent species of the Earth's crust. On the top of the blocks, you can see the geological relief, plains, mountains, valleys of the Earth's superficial crust. I have broadened the theme of exploitation to the over-exploitation of raw materials through many works. Moving from the mineral world to the organic world, then from the world of nature to that of human nature, proceeds, for me, by association and slippage of ideas. This process was the origin of much of my work and brought me to the living, to myself, and to the human thing. A bit like to superimposed images can give movement or relief, my work is often duplicated. For example, I made some pieces that combine the two paradoxical forms of a man and a parallelepiped. Those pieces tell the story of what it feels like to be an overly rationalized environment. But they are also the expression of the limits and confinements that we inflict on ourselves. It seems interesting to me to think in the same process about what we see and what we don't see. What is on the surface and what is underneath. It's a fruitful split. I love the landscape, but the subsoil fascinates me just as much. The inside, the transparency, and the space reserved for the void are for me as important as the full and the round. It's a way to reinforce interiority and suggestiveness. The choice of subject and conscious or unconscious scenes are initiated by the words that resonate with me. I dig to understand and understand myself by giving a singular plastic answer to each stage. It's a conceptual approach that involves the idea in the plastic choice and the process of realization. Creating is also a way of making room by freeing myself from what torments me. The result is a more opening of mind, which is a necessity to broaden the subject. I cultivate what torments me as much as what relaxes me. I am also, like a farmer, practicing varied seeds in order to maintain the fertility of his field. It's in this spirit of positive diversification that over the years I have created a collection of 26 items, mainly vases and bowls. Each piece is named after one of the letters of the alphabet. It is a set of 26 elements with a different spatial design and a unique formal sound. Like the alphabet, they form a language by combining. I found it interesting to create a dialogue with the different but complementary elements that make up a piece. The oppositions, both on the plastic level and on the level of ideas, are sources of creation and enrich the purpose of my work. First step that I'm presenting at the MIC for the 63rd Faenza Prize is quite emblematic of my way of working. This piece is composed of an upper part representing a child taking a first step, and the lower part is composed of two blocks of clay dug and hollowed out with the fingers. The observer can grasp the link and the trouble that these two parts create together. Was the child modeled on the upper blocks by drawing clay from the lower blocks? Is the ambivalence of the gestures, one tearing and scratching the clay, the other ordering it, smoothing it, an allusion to our own ambivalence? Is he a Golem's child saver that would have, as you wish, the color of the blue of the sky, the blue of the azure, the blue of the heavens? The child timidly attempts his first step, the first of countless in a lifetime. This important and moving movement, which we like to observe, goes hand in hand with optimism for the future. This question of the future, which from many angles is disturbing, is posed by this first step, taken on a narrow surface and a hollow and fragile subsoil. What I also think is important in my work is openness in order to offer any observer the possibility of his own interpretations. Someone told me that this piece was for him an update of the cherub theme. This piece also has an expression of fragility. The accidents, fractures, and imperfections related to the use of clays and raw natural materials are for me plastic proposals. Taking advantage of damage are sensitive actions, as the Japanese kintsugi showed us by sublimating the art of repair. I'm also interested in the presentation of the work in order to position the piece in the space and ensure its autonomy. I like my sculptures to present themselves in a natural and simple way. To conclude, I would say that my influences are multiple and mostly literary. Everything that the history of art has retained fascinates me. The art that speaks to me the most is the one that bears witness to its time.
Thank you, Claude. Your work really seems to be very architectural, and it is very interesting how you include a human being into this interaction between the architectural shapes and nature. So it was really interesting presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Danish artist Malene Rasmussen, who, if I'm correct, is based in London. She got her education in arts both in Denmark and UK, and her aim is to create a visual poetry based on her own personal stories. So Malene, the floor is yours. You are welcome. Malene, please turn on your microphone.
Oh, sorry. Is it turned on now? Yes. Growing up in the 1970s and 1980s, I had plenty of time. Time to invent, fantasize, and daydream. I lived in a small country, in a small town, in a small house, in a family of 4 with big problems. As a child, I used my imagination as an escape. At the library, I borrowed heaps of books about supernatural things, spirits, ghosts, visits from space, vampires, and werewolves. The more I read, the more engrossed I became in this parallel world of superstition, new and old. I would sit hunched over drawing for hours, dreaming myself into another world. This creative escapism has followed me into the artistic practice I have today. Next. Since my student days, first in Denmark and then London, my mission has been to visualize this inner world, both on a small scale and in all immersive installations. My sculptures are a creative flux of references from art history, folklore, random ideas, memories, and events from my own life. Next. I reflected on my Danish ancestry in the installation Phantasma Ghost, made in 2019 for Koch Foundation's Gallery Measure in Istanbul. My aim was to create a mausoleum for my parents, part Machu Picchu, part Indiana Jones. A temple you would stumble upon after many days traveling deep into the rainforest. The title of the installation, Phantasma, the Spanish word for ghost, referred to the time-honored use by human beings of figurative sculpture as talismanic objects. As a form of catharsis, I tried to exercise misery, anger, and grief, as were they demons, feelings relating to the loss of my father and mother and the memories of a time now gone. Next. I have explored the mythical beings of Scandinavia in many artworks. These creatures are born out of nature and a landscape, and the stories about them have survived till this day. Trolls are often, trolls are often thought of as childlike entertainment in bedtime stories, filled with fun and frolic. However, if you delve into the stories collected by folklorists, it is clear that the mythical creatures were a vehicle people used in expressing emotions connected to the darker side of life, such as envy, fear, and sorrow. My sculptural creatures find themselves in limbo, in metamorphosis between culture and nature, man and beast. Next. In 2018, I was artist in residence at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. During the 6 months residency, I worked in a studio that is housed inside the ceramic department in the museum itself. During my time there, I researched the works of 15th century French potter Bernard Palissy and the later Maiolica ware produced by factories and individual potters around Europe. I felt a kinship with Palissy in our mutual love of plants and animals, and our common exploration of ceramic still life scenes. Inspired by Palissy's live cast techniques of lifting molds from plants and dead animals and using the cast to create elaborate narrative scenes, I created a body of work inspired by the museum collection. Next. A focal point of the residency was the grotto. Palissy designed and fabricated architectural elements for 2 grottos during his lifetime. Only fragments remain showing ruffled rock-like surfaces with plants, reptiles, and insects. I entered this imaginary cave and tried to model the creatures I encountered on my way. Creatures that were made of water and darkness. Creatures that hid in crevices and under rocks. My mournful kelpman was born in this darkness. Perhaps it was a ghost of the past that appeared. The tears in his sad eyes merged with the sea he had come from. Next. While traveling through Palissy's cave, I encountered a snake. It was one evening at the museum. After closing time, the idea for Viper Weave was born. A rigid network and a bunch of unruly snakes. Animals fascinate me. Although we exist in the same world, we experience it quite differently. We want the animal to adapt to us, but what if it was the other way around? My work draws on the idea of animism, that animals and plants have a soul, and that rivers, mountains, and rocks, if not alive, are in some way sentient. It was the snake that got Eve to bite the apple from the tree of knowledge. He also rests around the foot of the world tree Yggdrasil in Norse mythology, and the Gorgon Medusa had a head full of snakes. Mythology and art history are full of snakes, and it is in this spirit that Viper Weave was created. Thank you.
Thank you, Malene. I think you are a real master in combining storytelling with a technically perfect figurative approach that shows really strong visual impression. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next participant is Marina Rodriguez from Argentina. And same as with the Chinese artist Lin Dong, we will have her video presentation. Marina is a visual artist, experimental ceramist, and architect in progress. So let's see her presentation, Marina.
Hello everyone. Agradecer al MIC por el espacio. Bueno, buenas tardes a todos y todas. Soy Marina Rodriguez, artista de la cerámica de Argentina. Y antes que nada quería agradecer al MIC por el espacio para poder contar parte de mi obra y en particular la obra seleccionada para el 63 Premio Faenza. El trabajo del cual voy a hablar y que les mostraré es parte de una serie que realicé en 2023 en homenaje a los trabajadores detenidos y desaparecidos de la fábrica de cerámica Los Adur por la última dictadura militar argentina. Para contextualizar, la fábrica Los Adur era una empresa ceramista argentina que producía vajilla de losa cerámica fue la más importante del país en su momento y la más grande de Sudamérica. Llegó a tener alrededor de 1.200 trabajadores, en su gran mayoría mujeres, y funcionó entre la década del 40 y el 77 cuando cierra sus puertas. La forma de producir de esta fábrica era bastante primitiva, se basaba en el trabajo a destajo, en el esfuerzo físico descomunal y cotidiano que dejaba infinidad de secuelas de enfermedades respiratorias, reumáticas, incluso hasta víctimas fatales. En el 77 los trabajadores enfatizan su plan de lucha que venían ya desarrollando previo a la dictadura militar del 76, pidiendo por mejoras salariales, mejoras en sus condiciones de trabajo y jornadas de trabajo menos extensas, con una serie de huelgas, toma de fábricas. En este contexto es que entre el 27 de octubre y el 2 de noviembre de 1977, en lo que se denominó la primavera de los ceramistas, es que se producen las detenciones, secuestros y posterior desapariciones de 7 ceramistas de la fábrica Los Adur, en su mayoría mujeres. Esta obra cuenta una de las historias de los 30.000 desaparecidos que hubo en Argentina, y para quienes trabajamos con este material, la causa de Los Adur es un emblema de resistencia y de lucha. La vajilla que se producía en Los Adur es la vajilla que de la clase obrera, la que aportaba alegría a la mesa del obrero, de la clase media. Esta vajilla, la última que los trabajadores desarrollaron en la fábrica, es la que utilizo para mis obras, la línea Festival de los Adur en su versión azul y morada. Hablando ahora sobre mi obra, es que hace tiempo vengo trabajando con el concepto de arqueología de la memoria y arqueología de género, temas que son muy importantes dentro de lo que es la agenda político-sociocultural de toda la sociedad y en particular en mi caso como trabajadora del arte. La obra Resistencia Cerámica está formada por 3 piezas, una obra concebida desde la arqueología que acude a recuperar la memoria colectiva de nuestra historia. Los llamados platos de la abuela, de la línea Festival de los Adur, tan popular en los 70, habitaba todas las casas, tanto para decoración en las paredes como para el uso cotidiano en las mesas, y ha dejado una huella muy importante en cada uno. Ha sido una decisión trabajar con las últimas piezas que desarrollaron los trabajadores de los Adur, ya que ellas tienen sus huellas, y sobre eso se basó mi trabajo, interviniéndolo con diferentes técnicas gráficas de cerámica, detalles en lustre de oro y varillas de hierro para unirlas. La obra seleccionada para el 63 Premio Faenza se podría decir que es una pieza de archivo doméstico, y que a su vez es un documento histórico con una visión e intervención contemporánea. Son piezas que están atravesadas por la lucha, por el dolor de familias, de un pueblo. No es simple vajilla que se pueda catalogar por su valor artístico o su calidad cerámica, sino que tiene un enorme valor para la historia y memoria del país. La obra es una instalación, una mesa servida, que podría ser de un domingo en familia o de una cena con amigos. La vajilla es el centro de la escena, es tradición, es ritual. y también remite a las ollas populares que se desarrollaban en las fábricas. La obra introduce dentro de esa mesa la presencia de las ausencias. En una mesa donde se desarrolla toda esta intervención, una olla se destapa donde aparecen las huellas que se quisieron borrar, las herramientas como símbolo de lucha, los platos vacíos, sus nombres, sus rostros, y la lucha en cada uno de los elementos. El despiece de un objeto que contiene la historia tapada, hoy abierta para no olvidar. Algunas piezas las utilizo apiladas, buscando que resistan, y otras simplemente para la contemplación. Es muy importante que esta obra pueda trascender las fronteras de mi país, para que se puedan seguir difundiendo y visibilizando los pedidos de memoria, verdad y justicia, y que estos crímenes de lesa humanidad, como ya dijimos en Argentina, nunca más vuelvan a suceder. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Marina. Thank you for introducing the important social, cultural, and historical aspects, and showing that ceramics as an art media is capable enough to speak about these difficult topics. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And our next speaker, I'm honored to invite Latvian artist Ilona Romule, who is very well known in Latvia and also internationally, especially for her China painting techniques. And I'd like to say that I'm lucky to know her personally and had the chance seeing her at work. So, Ilona, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Ciao tutti. Labdien visiem. I am a Latvian artist based in Riga, but mostly traveling all around the world and working in different residences and the studios where is the porcelain, because I choose for my works, I choose a technique porcelain. So first I want to say that I came from the artist family. And since childhood, I didn't know any other thing, just the arts, just a different kind of arts. My father was a sculptor, wood carver, and this technique comes to my plaster works. Then my mother was a painter. My father was also a jeweler artist. That's all the techniques are very perfect, as I am the perfectionist and cannot do anything with that. So, and my oldest sister was a graphic artist. So all these techniques brought me to the field of porcelain. When it came time to become a student in art academy, so I decided that's the porcelain will combine three-dimensional drawing and the sculpture, everything in one. And the porcelain for me is like white paper. So let's start the journey. Next, please. Like Valentins already mentioned, so my China painting is quite rich, but the ideas. So the sculpture, I make the sculpture, and then I add the painting, and they all continue one to each other. So, and it completely make the story. So my stories are deeply personal. Very few times I make the like little bit more social works, but practically those are my dreams, my stories, and so. And this particular work was made for the exhibition with the title Desire, and it was in Kansas City for NCICA Congress. as I said, I work in the symposium residencies because the really good quality of porcelain I cannot make in my studio conditions. So I work in the factories, the studios which provide the gas firing and the best porcelains. So in my main studio is in Kecskemét, is a famous studio in Hungary, and that's where I work over 30 years every year for several months, and bring back white works to my home, which later I am painting. So next, please. Then my carving skills come to the several works which I make just white without any painting, just with sculpture. And this particular project was in Hungary. I participate in a symposium with the title Memory. What? Oh, I forgot. Oh, you see, that's my memory. But anyway, so that's the title for one of the work on the left corner. It got the golden prize at each ink competition. And better I will read what is it. So the title is The Knot. But the other, what you see, the down, you can see the molds and models. That's how I make all my sculptures, through the drawing. So I make the technical drawing, and so then I continue through all the mold process, and after I alter, assemble. So it's very long process. For one set usually takes for over like about 3 months. Next, please. Okay, that is the carving technique brought me to another technique, which is now quite popular. A technique, the name is lithophane. Actually popular, it became because of 3D printing. So otherwise this technique was in Europe, like in 19th century, quite popular. But it was made totally another way. So I discovered my own way to get the same result. So this is very thin, very translucent porcelain with a negative relief. And with the light, it becomes like positive relief. And you see it three-dimensional and much deeper. So you can make lamps. Those are just slabs. So these are the works I make. I also teach that technique. Next, please. So, and using that previous, what you saw, the lithophane, I can make it also with the painting, and the same work. So I make the set of the molds, which I can use and combine with other molds. And since in Kecskemét is my main studio, there are hundreds of different molds. I work in about in the same scale, around under 30 centimeters high. For a porcelain is big enough, though I have some bigger works. So, and this work just recently, I made it at 21, but in 2024, it's got just recently the bronze prize in Ink teapot competition. Next, please. Oh, please, can you go back, please, for a second? Here, probably resolution doesn't allow you to see the painting, but I have two techniques. One is with a crosshatch, like a drawing by pencil, and another is this one with a dot, which is the most of my techniques. So it's millions of dots by fine nib, the calligraphy nib. So, and the colors are overglaze colors. Next, please. So here it is the same, the painting, but this is the crosshatch technique, if you can see in the figure on the left. And this work participated on the competition in Korea in 2021. So that's mostly what I work for. I make my works in different symposia, then I paint them at home. And then I send them to competition. So that's my the main work as I do. So all this, and right now the same work. This one is in Germany in also an exhibition, which is another one 1 week left in Mason for the porcelain exhibition. Next, please. So that was the very big show for all the important for the Baltic contemporary ceramic art. And so each artist had a group of the works, like small solo exhibition. And this one has a title, Semantic Migration. So the big works, those are really big. Before the firing, they were around 1 meter. And after they shrink to about 70 centimeters, I made them in China. So that's where is another my studio in Jingzhen. Of course, many artists know that place now. It's very popular to go there. Especially you can make big size works. So those for me are extremely big. And I will show you each of these works separately. Next, please. So that's one of the work, Canned Fish. It's you can see all the 4 sides. It's quite a big work. And so the title of that exhibition was Creo Ergo Sum. And so for me, that was very important time. During the COVID, I had the luck to work in Mark Rothko Center in Daugavpils, where Valentins is working. So it's incredible place. And mostly it was like 3 or 4 months, mostly what was important for me, that there was nobody and you don't have to do any other things. I was just concentrating on this painting, and I consider that's the best creative time for my painting works. Next, please. It's from the same exhibition. I decode the title for this. Actually, I don't see big reason to tell the stories of my works, even though at my beginning of my career, I was writing essays and the story was the most important. But then I find out that this is my story. It's my personal story. Why I should tell you this? Because they are so narrative, the works, that I prefer that you are walking around, you look the story, you tell me what you see. And sometimes it's under the consciousness, like, I don't know, but I probably mentioned the same what you see. But anyway, the ID code, here are the several ways how we identify the person. Is your eyes, is your X-ray. And on the top of the work, that the right corner, maybe you see that gray spots, those are my fingerprints with overglaze. So it's also your ID code. Next, please. It's again the Rosy Thorns and Chameleon. It's again my own story, but you can read your own. So if you're wondering how it is made, so there are the 2 basic shapes, as you see here, the base and then the top where all the elements are connected, and each element is assembled and altered. And sometimes it takes, like, people think, slip casting is something very easy. So sometimes it takes 1 week to put together just the things, because it's all have to dry very, very slow. Next, please. One more. Tunnels of Souls. And lately, my colors are mainly black and white, and that graphical techniques which I like the most. But lately I start to mix the black with the white, so have a different grays. And this work, if you see it closer, so there will be like different colors of black, different shades of gray, actually, I would say. Next, please. And now we are slowly come to my main work, which is submitted for the competition. And this is a series of silhouettes this is not yet the work. This is a series of silhouettes, which shows like a nature, male, female, water, animal, and I also have birds, and so. And the shape is quite. Some of them are quite abstract, so that allows me to paint them different way. So that was for one exhibition. Then next, please. And this one, actually, I made the pangolins love. So I made it for the competition in China. And like I mentioned to you, that's the social works sometimes I do. That was the topic for the COVID time when, as we know, the pangolins were one of the reasons when COVID, I don't know, one of the reasons when we said through the bats and pangolins it came to. And this work was not accepted in China. So, but I send it to another competitions. Next, please. Okay, here is the work I submitted for the Biennale, and the title is Imperceptible Connection. So the silhouette, the abstract form, or with the card steps, symbolizes a journey through the time and space. Rhythm of painted elements as a photographic frames of memories convey the fluidity of time. There are some portraits more of my mood, of my feeling through the times. It's still everywhere me, myself, but like in different steps of the life. So it's again my personal story. And next, please. And I thank you very much. And I want to thank you, the jury of the competition, who select my work. And I'm honored for this competition, which is the oldest in ceramic history, as I know, and very prestigious. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ilona. And as you told yourself, I think the perfectionism is the best word to describe all your artistic practice. And of course, you really bring the drawing, painting, and of course, carving in ceramics to a completely new level. Thank you. The next presentation we are going to see will be from Aline Schmidt from France. Aline's curriculum combines a PhD in chemistry with training in ceramic art. That I think would be kind of a dream for every ceramic artist. Aline, please tell us more about your experience in this field. The floor is yours.
Okay. So hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the jury for selecting my work for the Faenza Prize. It's a great honor to be part of this exhibition, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to present my work today. So let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Aline Schmidt. I'm a French artist. So I studied ceramics at the European Institute of Ceramic Arts in France. And before that, as Valentins said, I did some scientific study with a master's degree in physics and chemistry and a PhD in chemistry. So during those years, I worked in research labs, and today that scientific approach influences the way I work with my artistic process. So I love to experiment with clay. I explore glazes and texture and try to make them interact, creating surfaces with colors that change depending on the angle of view. I then use these optical effects to tell stories through my sculptures. For example, this work evokes the changing colors of a sunset over the sea. From one side, the piece appears orange, and as you walk around it, the colors slowly shift to blue, like the changing sky during sunset. The large picture that you can see shows the moment of transition between the two colors. It feels as if time is passing with each step you take. Then the curved line with complementary colors also create optical illusions, giving a sense of wave movement, immersing the viewer in the scene. Next, please. This installation, made of abstract shapes, suggests here a botanical landscape in transformation. On these two images, you can see two opposite views of the sculptures. Again, as you move around them, time passes. Spring greens fade into autumn reds, and new life cycle begins when you continue the walk. In this work, I wanted to explore the limits of the material by working with very thin, delicate forms. I was interested in the tension between balance and imbalance, as if these fragile shapes were trying to resist falling down. They seem to defy gravity and, in an instinct of survival, trying to delay the moment of collapse and the end of life. Next, please. In another part of my work, I've been exploring the world of colors. Their architecture fascinates me with endless repetitions of patterns that are both ordered and organic. Their colors are also hypnotic, like shimmering underwater. So I tried to capture this richness of colors and texture in clay. For this piece, I shaped every pattern individually and adding them one by one to the surface. Then I played with glazes and the reliefs to create an iridescent effect, like the way these organisms sparkle in the sunlight underwater. Next, please. I'm especially interested in corals because they are a symbol of today's climate crisis. Due to pollution and rising ocean temperatures, massive bleaching events are now occurring. When these organisms lose their colors, they become weak, and if conditions don't improve quickly, they will remain white and die. This sculpture shows how fast bleaching can happen. In just a few steps, we move from the colored, healthy side to the white, dying side of the sculpture. This speed contrasts with the very slow growth of corals, making them one of the most threatened species on Earth. Next, please. Here is the piece I'm presenting for the Faenza Prize. It's called 2024, Episode 4. The title refers to the fourth global coral bleaching event which occurred worldwide last year. For this work, I sculpted 2,024 patterns and added them one by one to the surface. It's quite a long and meticulous process, reflecting the slow growth of corals. In this landscape, I wanted to show both vibrant iridescent areas and white bleached ones, symbolizing a race against time between creation and destruction. This struggle leads to two possible outcomes: resilience or disappearance. And this echoes our own future on this planet. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Aline. I think all of ceramic artists here could be jealous for such a strong scientific knowledge and that allow you to reach such technical precision that you are freely operating with while creating your artworks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next artist who we are going to meet now is a wonderful Lithuanian ceramist, Agnė Šemberaitė. She is not only well known for her outstanding art, but also for her curatorial practice. She is one of curators of Vilnius Ceramics Biennale, and I also personally had the privilege to work together with her on several projects to promote Baltic contemporary ceramics internationally. I would like to welcome Agnė to show her presentation.
Thank you so much, Valentin. Hello, everyone. I'm Agnė Šemberaitė from Lithuania, and I'm very happy and proud to participate in the Premio Faenza competition. I'm very proud not only about myself, but also about my country, Lithuania. During the long history of the Faenza competition, about 15 Lithuanian artists have been presented here, but unfortunately, they represented not Lithuania, but the Soviet Union, the country that had occupied Lithuania for 50 years. After regaining independence, the name of Lithuania is seen in the Premio Faenza competition for the second time. Even 5 Lithuanian artists were selected for this year's edition, and this is a truly great achievement for a country which is only 2.8 million inhabitants. And now about my works. The piece that was presented for the competition reflects the themes that have been bothering me for the past 6 years. My works are personal and emotional. Artists often have a sense of anxiety, impending future changes. In 2018, oppressed by personal losses, I created the work Mimicry, which you can see now. In this work, porcelain orchid garden that looks beautiful from afar becomes threatening when you get closer. Hidden creatures appear, and the petals become flashy organs. Next, please. In the same year, mantis, an insect not typical for my region, found its way into my works. It captivated me with its movements, reminiscent of a prior rituals, that remained undeniably predatory. Next, please. The piece Wound was created in 2021. It's a small picture in the corner, but I returned to it a year later when the Russian invasion of Ukraine began and the wound started gushing with blood. Next, please. The work, The Growth of Hatred, which will be presented at the Premio Faenza, is from my personal exhibition Fear Whispering, which was shown at Rodko Museum in Latvia and Gallery Arka in Lithuania. The exhibition is important to me not just like a presentation of individual works, but as a whole, when the exhibition itself becomes a work of art. In order to engage as many senses of a viewer as possible, alongside the ceramic object, I used music and shadows falling from the works. Next, please. This picture is from the Rodko Museum in Latvia. And in this case, the shadows are real, but on the next slide, they will be drawn on the walls. Next slide, please. Sorry. Although the decision to draw shadows was due to the lack of equipment, but it allowed me to control the size of the shadow and help to reach the desired effect. Next, please. And next, please. As it is often in case in my work, the creation of this work stretched over 3 years. The first figure appeared in 2021. The red eggs of evil growing through the skin were still quite tiny, and it was not clear to me what my subconscious wanted to say here. But work was finished in 2023 when the propaganda and hatred rose in the new hails. Evil spread its red wings and turned its face full of hatred and anger towards us. Thank you. Maybe somebody thinks it's too political and it's not good to mix political and art, but it's the reality in which we're living today. In Lithuania, every morning we read the news from Ukraine, and because of our Soviet past, we know Russian language perfectly, so we can understand what they are saying. After Ukraine, we are going to Lithuania and finish their work. It means killing us. I hope it will never happen, and our Lithuania country will participate in next Faenza Premio competitions. Thank you.
Thank you, Agnė. Thank you for these important topics, and it's always exciting to see your work and the way how you transmit the emotional and also subconscious aspects through ceramics media. Thank you. And now it's time to switch to our last speaker for today, which is Todd Shanafelt from US. He's a professor of ceramics at the Minnesota State University, and as he states himself, he's very interested in mingling ceramics with unexpected domestic materials and its display. Let's see the presentation of Todd Shanafelt. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Valentins, and thank you, Stefania, and all the organizers for the exhibition. Like everyone said, it's a huge honor, and it's a pleasure. And it's incredibly special to be able to show our artwork amongst each other from around the world. It's fantastic, and I really appreciate the opportunity. So quick introduction, as Valentin said, I've grown up in the United States, in Minnesota, northern United States on the Canadian border. But I spent most of my life in Colorado, which is a very mountainous state, very high elevation. And I would like to say that I've learned most of what I know about art through learning from playing in the outdoors and being immersed in the outdoors, surrounded by trees, altitude, and wildlife and everything. And I spent lots of times out there playing, and that informed my decision-making in my art practice as I grew up through high school and into college and now even. My work does not speak directly about mountains and lakes and rocks and things like that specifically, but I think that there's a lot of relationships there. So this is the work that I entered into the exhibition, and this is a work that is meant for the wall, and I'm interested in, I think ever since I've started working with clay, bringing other materials together with the ceramic medium. I found that to be kind of a stimulating thing that created an incredible amount of tension and contrast. And I would like to say that these materials, or this piece, a lot of my pieces are kind of like a material disobedience. I like to present materials as well as ceramics in ways that we wouldn't quite expect them to be located and to be manipulated. So, and it's also about appropriation. I like to appropriate the actual clay, and sometimes appropriating remnants of clay around the studio, in the bottom of the reprocess bins, scraps here and there, things that have gone wrong. the studio, and I like to kind of use that as fuel for my imagination as I continue to work. I also obviously appropriate materials such as this piece here, where there's carpet, and there's other bits and pieces from desks and lumber and things that have been cut up in my studio. So on to the next slide. I really enjoy this quote by Tony Craig, who said years ago that it is important to think in material and not so much in your head. And I'm really fascinated by that quote, because I think that I've been doing that for many, many years. Ceramics obviously moves as we move. And for a long time, I tried to control the clay, and I tried to tell it everything that I wanted it to do. And lately, in the past 15 years or so, I've kind of let that idea go and just work through allowing the clay to kind of do what it does best. And that is to be disobedient. Like it's very difficult to control everything. So I've kind of let go of that. And so anyway, I love that quote. And in this piece here, I'm interested in getting clay off of the ground and in a location that it's not normally found, and in a precarious way. A lot of times clay has a tendency to be heavy and to be stationary on a tabletop. And in the recent past, I've been trying to find other ways to get it up and into the air, and where the audience has to deal with it in a different way, in an unexpected way. All these materials are found at the hardware store. They're found throughout my studio, which is not just full of ceramics. It's full of all kinds of lumber, wood, metal, and textiles. And I'm always I kind of sometimes feel like I'm a fashion designer, where I'm bringing just oddball things together with the ceramics as they come out of the kiln. And I'm like, is there potential for bringing these two materials together today? Is there potential for bringing these other materials together today? And so display is really important, and seeing how these materials communicate together or not in a way that I'm interested in. In the next slide here is a little detail. And another artist that I think of now and then is the Ella Fitzgerald. And Ella was obviously just fantastic at scat, and which is involved with this idea of improvisation in sound and using her voice. And I am in no way, shape, or form a musician, but I love music, and it does inform the way I move in the studio with the materials. I can actually point back to certain songs. It may not be Ella Fitzgerald. It may be modern ambient music or electronic. It could be contemporary rock. It could be jazz, and that also plays a big part in how I move in the studio with the materials. Next. I got to point out another person that has been a big influence of mine, and that was a former instructor many, many years ago in graduate school. I was a drawing professor, and she came into my studio and she said, "Oh, Todd, you're just drawing in 3 dimensions with your 3-dimensional work." And that really made me think more about trying to make the 3-dimensional work become like it was drawn. And so you do see a lot of line in the previous works that I showed. And in my much older work, at the time that professor mentioned that. I was using a lot of stainless steel rod, which is like a welding rod, and I would stick that into the clay, and it would create an extended line off the surfaces of my work, which was primarily wheel thrown at the time. But just recently, I found a fantastic surface to draw on that we've all been moving in and out of kilns for many years. I'm like, oh my gosh, these are beautiful surfaces that we're about to discard. So we have tons of used up kiln shells that have disasters on them and old glazes stuck to them and so forth that have this beautiful history. And I started drawing on them with underglazed pencils and glazes and such. And I'm just in love with these new surfaces. So it's kind of new work. Usually we love our new work. And I can't help but love my new work right now. We'll see in a few weeks if I still do. And these are meant for the wall too. These hang on the wall. They're very heavy, but they're very strong for the most part. Next. What else? I'm interested in asking more questions of viewers. I'm interested in having a kind of playful aesthetic in my work, and not having any hard, specific conclusions to any of my work. I'm a lover of ambiguity, and again, if you go back to what I was mentioning before, being in the outdoors in Colorado growing up as a young kid, everything was ambiguous in a way. The way that things decayed, were rebuilt, and then decayed again, changed with seasons, formed by nature, formed by erosion. That all, I guess, is kind of coming out in my work here and there as I continue to draw and to make objects. And yeah, was there another artist? There's, I think on the next slide, or maybe this is the last one. So another artist that comes to mind as I continue to develop as an artist that I really look up to is the German artist Anselm Kiefer, which we all know. And I'm amazed by the scale that he works. I'm amazed by the fluidity that he moves with his materials, such as mainly predominantly paint, involving other materials. And I love that sense of play with materials that he has as well. And he has this famous quote too, that he said that in this life, there's always construction, deconstruction, and then reconstruction. And again, I probably said that too many times, but I'm really fond of this idea of that. And I think it goes very well with how we work in our own studios, especially with clay, where there's so much construction, so much that goes wrong, and then there's so much rebirth. I think that's it. And I thank you all for listening. And I appreciate, again, the honor to be with all these amazing artists in this upcoming exhibition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Todd. It was really interesting and different and strong approach to ceramics. I think the way how you assemble various materials is really emphasizing the ceramic part of your installation. So thank you very much. So we have finished with the presentations part. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you, everyone. And now we can move on to questions. Unfortunately, we don't have any questions from public, but I have a common question to all of you. Could you comment how significant is it to participate in Faenza Prize or other competitions for your artistic career? And in what ways do these experiences contribute to your creative growth and professional development? So it's not necessary to answer. If you don't want to answer, you can just stay silent. But if someone wants to share, then you are welcome.
For me, it's definitely all the competitions are the goal for my career, and starting with symposia and residencies. This is for me the very logical result to make works for a competition, and it's definitely the main goal. And Faenza, the oldest competition, that's the. I think everyone is proud to participate in. But now,
do you create a unique artwork specially for each competition, or you just select from the existing?
as you remember from my works, from my slideshow, that the actual works I made either in China or in Kecskemét. So I bring the white pieces, and there is one story at the beginning which I plan to paint, but then there comes other competitions, and I choose. I have full house of the white pieces, and so then I choose and paint particularly for that competition. Yes, I do the particularly.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to comment or discuss something?
Sure, I'll add a couple things real quick. Ever since I was in graduate school, we were encouraged to show our work in local galleries and whatever was nearby. And I remember one of the very first shows, I think it was maybe in Kanazawa, Japan or something, that came up. And I was still as a student, and still I was thinking, oh, I don't really have any work to show, and it's such a big stage, but I'm like, why not? So anyway, I think that it's incredibly important for me personally to be able to have the work exposed with such a diverse palette of other works, and to not stay local. I think that's really good for our material, our chosen material, ceramics. It's the only way for it to continue to grow and develop. So I'm always looking for international shows to try to get my work in, and it informs my decisions. I'm not making work specifically for specific international shows, but I just think, especially in the United States, where we're just, like, it's very easy to just get sucked in and just think only about the United States. So I think it's my job as an American to try to communicate with the rest of the world through my artworks. So I appreciate it very much. It's very important to me.
Thank you. So thank you once again to everybody. And if there is no questions or comment, yes, please, Claude.
Of course, it's very fantastic to make an exhibition at the MIC, but I have to add that I have a personal motivation, because when I was 15, I pushed the door of a workshop in the south of Paris, and it was here I found an Italian from Faenza called Augusto Tozzola, and he learned me the throwing wheel. And the most important thing is that he trusts me, and I have been with him learning beginning to learn this work of ceramist, and he was a great man who able to open the doors of my life. And now he's 96 old. He is retired and he is back in Faenza. So I'm very glad to soon be in Faenza to visit him. That's all.
Thank you, Claude. Thank you for sharing your experience and memories. Is there anyone else who wants to add something? So if not, then I think it's time to finish this edition of Faenza Prize Talks. And thank you to the artists for sharing their processes and ideas. And thank you also to everyone who was watching us today online. And I also want to remind that next edition of Faenza Talks will take place next Wednesday, 16th of April at 2 p.m. Roman time. Next time, Italian curator and jury member of 63rd edition of Faenza Prize, Marco Maria Poloniato, will meet a group of artists, Yulia Batirova and Marat Muhametov, Liu Shi Tsai, Jose Sierra, Ruta Shipalite, Pim Sudikam, Hainal Qatar, Heidi Tarver, and Andrea Stesh. Thank you once again, and see you next time. And of course, see you at the opening of Faenza Prize exhibition on 27th of June. Bye-bye.